Hey YouTube, good morning. Hope everyone is having a good day and is in great health. Uh, we're going to be doing some basic maintenance on the Toyota Previa van. My van, I took it off the road. Have a lot of maintenance things to do, but I decided I'm going to record some of them, okay? So today we're going to do the front pads and rotors. First thing we're going to do is that we're going to pop the hood and open the cap on the brake master cylinder. Okay, went inside the car, pulled the hatch lever, obviously lever for the hood. Now we have to lift the hood up. Got this little rod here. Mine is broken up in here, as you can see. I'm gonna have to find the little plastic piece. Mine is broken, so maybe I find it at the dealer or on eBay or something to replace that. All right. So the brake master cylinder on the van is here. It's this thing right here, brake master cylinder. So we're gonna pop this off. So when we push the brake calipers back, the air will, the liquid will fill back up in the reservoir here. I do need to change the brake fluid here, but I'm gonna wait until I do a big brake kit on this, and then we'll change it at that time. So we got the cap here. This is off, so let's get it taken off these wheels. Okay, on my car here, as you can see, I have aftermarket wheels. Some basic TRD wheels I bought from eBay a long time ago. Need to be cleaned up. Some of them are bent. I think the one in the back loses air, so I'm going to fix that too. But yeah, let's jack this car up. Now, when I jack up my car, my van, I always jack it up from this point right here. I don't think there's any place else to jack it up from in the front. In the back, I use the pumpkin or the differential. But on the sides, I use this point right here. So let's get this baby jacked up. Okay, as you guys can see, the jack is lifting the front of the van up. Now I'm going to use one of my impact guns, so I didn't need to break the wheel lugs when the wheel was on the ground. If you're doing it by hand, break the wheel lugs while the wheel's on the ground, so when you raise it in the air, it's easier to take the lugs off. Now for the back, I always place 2 brakes or something behind the wheels so the van won't move or roll when you're jacking it up, alright? So whatever safety tip you guys want to use, just put something behind the wheel chock, whatever you have, just so it remains stable, alright? So let's get the impact gun, get these wheels off. Okay guys, for me, I use an electronic impact gun that I picked up from Harbor Freight. These are pretty cheap. I think it has about 1,100 foot-pounds of torque. Usually do the job, these types of jobs pretty easy. I have wheel locks on my van, so the wheel is it's coming off. That's no problem. Now on my van, I have a spacer. You guys don't have a spacer, or maybe you do, maybe you don't. But mine is bolted on here, and I believe those are 19 mils. So if you don't have a spacer, you can just skip this step. I gotta take off the spacer before I take off the brake caliper and carrier to get this rotor off. So let me take care of that next. Okay, the spacer came up pretty easy. 5 19mm bolts. There's the spacer. I think it's like a 1/2 inch spacer. They're pretty light. I think I bought those from eBay years ago. No biggie, so that came off. Alright, so we go back over here, and this is probably what you guys are going to see. The caliper, carrier, brake pad, brake rotor. It looks like this brake rotor just comes off. It doesn't have like a little pin in here. The pin, some people say the pin is there to hold the rotor on there. Some people say the pin is only there so the rotor will stay on the hub during assembly or down the production line, whatever you call it. But this one doesn't have it, so I don't have to worry about getting that out of there. So first thing I'm going to do is I want to get this caliper off. and get the carrier off. So whatever tool size I need, I'll make sure I say it so you guys be able to do it at home, okay? Okay, one thing I wanted to mention is that while you guys have the car jacked up, place a jack stand or something underneath the car, so in case your jack gives out, so you got a little safety net there, okay? Now with the caliper, there's a 14mm bolt back here. It's not this one. This one's up here. I'm just gonna put this back down so you can see it. It's a 14mm bolt right here that you take out. This is the one you grease up and the caliper slide back and forth on. Now once you take that off, you could use like a screwdriver or something to pull the caliper up. Now once the caliper is up, you can push back the piston that's on the inside here. Now usually a lot of cars that have like two bolts, one on the bottom and one up top, but on this one here it's smooth right here, so it doesn't look like you take this one out. There's probably another way to get that out, but I'm not worried about that right now. Got like a little rubber thing on there, and then around here is all smooth, so I want to follow, see if I can find some directions on how to get that out. But for right now, when you take out the bottom 14mm bolt, the caliper slides up. Then you can pretty much push this piston back, take these pads out, and then just replace them. But we're taking out the caliper too, so right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use one of these old pads, put it on the caliper piston, push that back push it back using this C-clamp. That'll push that back, and we already have the reservoir open. I'm sorry, the reservoir cap off with a brake master cylinder, so it should push back no problem. So let's do that part. Use the old brake pad, push it back, and then we'll get ready to take off the brake caliper carrier so we can get the rotor off. Okay, just to give you a sneak peek of what I did is that once the caliper is up, I used the old brake pad to brace it against the C-clamp, then I turned the C-clamp to push the piston back. As you can see here, the C-clamp is just on the back of the caliper, it's not going to hurt it. And just simply turn it back. It's a little finicky. I'd rather be able to take the caliper all the way off, but you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. So right now, this side here is ready to receive its new brake pads. But like I said, let's get this rotor off next. But this is what I use to push back the piston in the brake caliper. Okay, now I have the caliper and the carrier off of the hub. The top bolt, both bolts are 17mm for the caliper carrier. The top bolt, there's not that much room in there, so I had to use like I used a wrench to put it on there, and then I used my little sledgehammer here to knock it loose. On the bottom there was enough room, so I just used a 1/2" 17mm ratchet and socket to get that off. And now that it's off, as you guys can see here, it's off. Honestly, I guess that once it comes off all in one piece, then I could have used the C-clamp to push back the piston, but it really doesn't matter. Just do whatever you're comfortable with. And then I have a bungee cord here, so the caliper and carrier can just hang without falling and damaging these old brake lines there. So as you can see here, hopefully the rotor will just come off. So let's take that off next and see what we have. Okay guys, that took a lot longer than I anticipated. This rotor would not come off. As you can see here, I soaked it with some PB Blaster. I shot some PB Blaster in the spaces here where the lug nuts are. Then I shot PB Blaster all around here. Let it soak for a while. Then I came out, just kept on, giving it some love taps with the sledgehammer, and it finally popped off. Alright, so what that means is that we're going to have to get the drill and like a wire brush, wire all this rust and stuff down off this hub here, and then put some anti-seize around the lip of this hub center here. So alright, let's do that next, man. Sorry about that, guys. This should be easy peasy, but you know that one law. They say every time you're trying to show somebody something, things go wrong, but this is the real world. This is what happens. So let's get this sanded off here. Alright guys, here we go. Here's the hub here. Cleaned up a little bit. Like I said, I used the cordless drill with a wire brush on the end. You pick these up at Harbor Freight. Come in a pack of 3 or 5 or whatever it is. They're pretty cheap. No big deal. And I use it to sand all the rust off. And now I'm going to use some of my high temp. Oh, here it says wheel bearing grease. I don't know why it says this. But anyway, this is what I've been using to. I always use this on my brakes and everything else. It's just a high temp grease, anti-seize, nothing special. So wrap that around there. No big deal. Alright, we'll put the new rotor on there and then we start putting everything together. And just so you guys can get a name of the stuff I use on the brakes, it says high temp disc brake wheel bearing grease. This is what I always use just to put it on the for the brakes, those surfaces that the caliper, not the caliper, but the brake pads slide back and forth on, just to kind of grease that up. And then some of those nuts or bolts that you slide back into the brake caliper, that the brake caliper slides back and forth on. This is what I always use. I never had a problem, but just in case you guys wanted to know. Alright, here are the new brake rotors. Nothing special about them. I think these are like the cheapest I can find on eBay or Amazon. I'm just going to hit it with some brake clean on the front and the back. Make sure I get off the coating they have on there, so they can slide right on. Just to prove that I am using the cheapest ones I can find, you see it right here, made in China. Good enough for work van. Alright, let's get them on. Okay, the brake rotor went on just fine, no problems there. Cleaned it up. Next thing we want to do, we're going to put on the brake caliper and brake carrier. Now remember, there were 2 bolts we took off that were 17 millimeter. One long, one short. Short goes on the top, long goes on the bottom. Let's get them on. Hey, just to give you guys a tip here, when putting on the caliper and carrier, I found it easier to start with the top bolt first. Just get in enough bolts to where it's like getting started. Then you can lift the caliper and carrier up. Then put the rotor on, because you're doing this kind of blind, you're kind of feeling. But I think that's the easiest way. Start with the top bolt, get it started, lift up the caliper and carrier, put the rotor on, and then slide everything down. Well, put everything, you can slide it down like this until you're able to tighten up the top bolt and install the bottom bolt. Then lift up just the caliper so you can put the pads in. But I found that to be the easiest way. Okay, the caliper carrier is on, secure. 17 short on top, 17 long on the bottom. Now we have this caliper here. Let's put these brake pads in and lube up this caliper and take it from there. Alright guys, here we are. The brake pads are in. And what I usually do, like I said, I usually just put the I guess called anti-seize, whatever you want to call it, on the points where they where I'm at, one of the points where the brake pad touches the metal, like the clips. Metal clips. So you should just put it in that area where it is, where metal clips are. I also found it easier because you have this cover that flips up and down to tie it up with that bungee cord you used earlier. Just bungee it, yeah, so you can hold it up out the way while you put these brake pads in. All right, so everything looks good here. I'm going to slide this caliper down on the brake pad, and then that 14 millimeter, that one screw we took out here, I'm going to put some one greases up and slide this into the caliper so it can attach to the carrier. Okay, the pin was already pushed back, we did it a while ago, so everything should be okay. All right, guys, let's close this out. Everything's done. Of course, the driver's side was about 90% faster than the passenger side. Nothing was stuck. Everything was done very quickly. Of course, since I was making the video, the side that I would record would be the difficult side. So at this point, what you want to do now, of course, you want to lower the jack. You want to put your little knob here, your little cap, back on the brake reservoir. All right. Then you want to lower the car, of course, and then go inside, pump the brake a few times. That should close the calipers that we opened up earlier. Again, my brake fluid is very dirty, needs to be changed, but I'm not going to do anything with that until I install the big brake kit. All right. So after you do that, that should be it. As I said, I have quite a few repairs to do on this vehicle. I'll try to record them all. I got an oil leak somewhere because my oil hair is going down faster than normal. I need front struts and hub bearings, and the exhaust has to be repaired. So got quite a few things to do, and I'll try to bring you guys along. I hope this video was helpful. Any recommendations from you guys, I appreciate it, and I hope everyone is in good health, and take care. Oh, one last thing. The brake pads that I use is from AutoZone, part number MKD616. That's the part number of the door last brake pads. Okay, guys, take care, and I'll talk to you soon. God bless.